Greetings everyone. Today we're going to explore scientific notation operations. You'll want to have the note sheet to go with this so you don't have to write as much, and you definitely need your scientific calculator. This is going to be the handout we're using today. If yours is not labeled, please pause this video to make sure you have the correct titles. All right, let's open up the first tab and talk about multiplying with scientific notation. When multiplying scientific notation, you have three steps. We're going to multiply the front numbers or the decimal numbers. We're going to multiply the base tens, which means we're just going to add the exponents. And step 3, we need to make sure that that final answer is in true scientific notation, meaning the front number is between 1 and 10. Now, in the middle of our notes, we have this little piece to remind you about how we change the exponent when we have scientific notation. So for example, if I have 28.78 times 10 to the negative fifth, that's not scientific notation because I can't have 28. And so I have to move the decimal to the left one. If I move the decimal to the left one, it'll be 2.8. But I have to change this exponent. If I go to the left, I need to add 1 to my exponent. Therefore, the opposite would be true. If I had a number such as, let me make one up here. Let's say 0.024 times 10 to the 7th. That's not between 1 and 10, so I need to move the decimal 1, 2 to the right. When I move that decimal to the right 2, I need to subtract 2 from my exponent. So my final number would be 2.4 times 10 to the 5th. All right, let's go through our first 3 steps for multiplying scientific notation. Step 1 said to multiply the front numbers. If I multiply these decimals, I arrive at 22.94. Step 2 is to multiply the base tens. Oh, these are our exponent rules that we've already done. We keep the base and we add the exponents. Step 3 is the number 22 is not okay. So I need to move my decimal to the left 1. So my new number is 2.294 times 10. If I move it to the left, I increase my exponent. Alrighty, let's take a look on how to plug this into your scientific calculator. We are going to type in all at once. I am going to use what I call the caret top key. There are scientific notation options, but we're going to stick to that for the sake of these videos. Let's start off with this example. We are going to type in 3.7 times 10 to the 6th. We're going to press the times sign because we are multiplying by 6.2 times 10 to the 4th power. You'll notice that when we press enter, because the number is so large, it gives us the answer in scientific notation. Alrighty, let's take a look at dividing with scientific notation. Very similar process. We want to divide those front numbers, but now because we're dividing, we have to subtract our exponents on our base 10. And then the same third step, we need to make sure that that number is in true scientific notation. All right, let's try this example. Step 1, divide those front numbers. If I divide those numbers, I get 0.5. Step 2, when we divide like bases, we subtract the exponents, 8 minus 3. Step 3 is 0.5 is not between 1 and 10, right? I have to move the decimal to the right one. If I move the decimal to the right one, I have to subtract 1 from my exponent. All right, let's type this one in. I have 1.2 times 10 to the 8th. Now, here's where I actually need to have parentheses because I'm going to be dividing. I don't want to divide by just this number, and so I'm going to put parentheses. So I'm going to go back and do second insert, parenthesis, and I'm going to go to the right, and I'm going to put parentheses around my scientific notation, then do my division, and add on a new set of parentheses. Now, in some calculators, you might not need to do that. 10 to the 3rd, I'm going to close my parentheses. So if I scroll back, right, you can look back. I have the first one in parentheses, division symbol, the second one in parentheses. Oops, didn't need to press that. Delete that. Now we have 50,000. So I have it in standard form, which I will ask for, but to write in scientific notation, I am going to have to move the decimal to the left 4 times. So it would be written as 5 times 10 to the 4th power. All right, let's talk about adding and subtracting with scientific notation. When adding and subtracting, think of it like variables, right? If we're going to add or subtract, we need like terms. And so in order to add or subtract, we need like exponents. And so we need to convert our numbers to make them have the same exponent first, okay? Step 2, we are going to add or subtract those front numbers, and then the like exponents stay the same. And step 3, guess what? It's the same. You need to make sure that it's in true scientific notation. So let's try this out. Step 1, I need to make the exponents the same. Currently I have a 6 and I have a 4. I could make them both 6s. I could make them both 4s. Or I could pick a number in the middle and say 5. I'm going to try making the 5, okay? So first of all, I'm going to drop this down. I'm rewriting the problem. Keep the base 10s, right? See how it looks the same? My goal is to make my exponents 5. All right, that's going to change my front number. From 6 to 5, I subtracted 1. If I subtract 1, I move the decimal right 1. We did that in the last 2 problems. Okay, if I go from 4 to 5, I added 1. If we add 1, we move the decimal to the left 1. So this becomes 0.54. Now we have like scientific notation. So because they are like, we can now add the front numbers, which kind of works out perfect, easy addition. And we're going to keep our like bases with our exponents. Step 3 is to make sure that it's true scientific notation. So I can't have 97, right? I need to move the decimal to the left 1. So that would be 9.754 times 10. Now I moved it to the left 1, so I need to add 1. Alrighty, let's try this one out. Because I am adding, I am going to use parentheses around each set of my scientific notation. 9.7 times 10 to the 6th, close parenthesis. There's my first set, plus new parenthesis, 5.4 times 10 to the 4th, close parenthesis. I can look back if I need to. If I press equals, I have to convert this. So this is standard form, write that next to standard form, but I'm gonna have to move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So 9.754 times 10 to the 6th. All right, our last operation is power to a power. And to be honest, I find this one to be one of the easiest. We're gonna treat it like power to a power with just regular exponents, where we're gonna distribute that exponent. We're going to distribute it to the front power, which means I'm going to have to use my calculator and multiply. We're going to distribute it to the exponent of the base 10, which means we're going to multiply the exponents. And guess what? That last step is still the same. So let's go through the steps here. Step 1, we need to distribute this exponent to both pieces. We can do that because it's a multiplication problem. So this becomes 4 to the 4th. We keep our base 10, and when we have a power to a power, we multiply, so 24. All right, we need to calculate that front number, 4 to the 4th. 4 to the 4th is 256. I'm going to keep the times 10 to the 24th. Now, my typical last step, we need to take a look. I can't have 256 in the front, so I have to move that decimal to the left twice. So my final answer, 2.56 times 10. If I jump to the left twice, I increase my exponent by 2. All right, let's take a look at this one. Now we clearly have parentheses on the question, so definitely include parentheses in your calculator. 4 times 10 to the 6th, close parentheses, and we want to take that to the 4th power, so caret top again to the 4th. Because this number is so large, it can't fit since there's 26 place values. And so there's our answer in scientific notation. All right, for these examples, I am just going to straight practice typing these into my calculator. Let's start off with 2.0. Well, 0.0 is not going to change anything. Times 10 to the negative 4th. Make sure you use the negative key. Close parentheses. Times 4.0. I'm just going to say 4 times 10 to the 7th. Close parentheses. 8,000. So that would be written as standard form. For scientific notation, it would be 8 times 10 to the 3rd. Next one, parentheses 4.16 times 10 to the negative 9th. Close parentheses, division symbol. 5.2 times 10 to the negative 5th. Close parentheses. Here is our very small number. If I write this in scientific notation, it would be 8 times 10 to the negative 5th. So be comfortable writing your answer both ways. Let's try our next one. 2.34 times 10 to the negative 2, close parentheses, subtract, parenthesis, 7.45 times 10 to the negative 5th, close parentheses. This is in standard form. My scientific notation would be 2.33255 times 10 to the negative 2nd. Last one, parentheses 8.0. I'm just going to write 8 times 10 to the 3rd, close parentheses, to the 2nd. Large number, this is standard form. To write it in scientific, I'd have to move the decimal to the left all the way to here. That's 7 jumps. So 6.4 times 10 to the 7th. Alrighty, so make sure our goal with using this instruction is that you are confident in using your calculator for all of these operations. If you have a different type of calculator questions, make sure to ask any math teacher. And also, if you don't have a true scientific notation calculator, we showed you how you can do it by hand. So let me know if you have any questions. Make sure to check out Google Classroom, see what the task is, and until next time, have a good one.